Happy first day of summer, everyone. Okay, so it's not officially summer until June 20th, but honestly, who chose that date and who's keeping track? I'm Stella Chung, and in today's Daily Fix, some of Redfall's developers wanted the game to be cancelled by Microsoft. Sonic the Hedgehog's co-creator is going to jail, the Meta Quest 3 was announced, and Insomniac shared more details on the Symbiote suit in SpiderMan 2. There's a lot of details, so let's get into it. I wanted Redfall to be good, you wanted Redfall to be good, and obviously the developers wanted it to be good. But some of them also hoped Microsoft would cancel it entirely. Let me explain. Bloomberg released a report after talking to several anonymous sources familiar with Redfall's development. And from the sound of things, Arkane Studios' game was not doing well when Microsoft acquired its parent company ZeniMax Media back in 2020. The team at Arkane struggled with a misguided vision, staffing issues, and more that allegedly got so bad at Arkane that staff wished Redfall would be rebooted as a single-player game or just cancelled outright. Before you start pointing fingers at Microsoft, Bloomberg sources say ZeniMax pushed Arkane to switch to a multiplayer focus, and that seems like the root of Redfall's problems. Developers at Arkane who worked on the single-player Prey were now working on a multiplayer game, and 70% of these staff members left Arkane by the end of Redfall's development. Replacing those devs became an issue since the applicants wanting to work in those roles were passionate about single-player games and were not the multiplayer experts that Arkane needed. This led to a claimed perpetually understaffed team of less than 100 employees. As you might expect, this much turnover resulted in a lack of direction for the project. The sources claimed that management would regularly switch reference points, saying Redfall should be like Far Cry one day and then Borderlands the next, and developers were left scrambling with no real idea of what Redfall should look like. IGN reached out to Microsoft for further explanation, but Microsoft declined to comment on the report. Xbox Game Studios CEO Phil Spencer did give a statement on Redfall following its rocky launch, taking full responsibility for it. He said, "There's nothing more difficult for me than disappointing the Xbox community and just kind of watch the community lose confidence and be disappointed. I know Microsoft wants to be hands-off in the way they handle their studios, but maybe a little quality assurance is needed. I mean, Microsoft can give so many more avenues for resources to developers and to their studios, and that partnership should encourage their studios to utilize them or ask for assistance and advice." But as for Redfall, maybe it was just never meant to be. Arkane has an amazing track record for making single-player games with great stories, and forcing the studio to go multiplayer clearly didn't pan out. Spencer stated that Microsoft did a better job of supporting Bethesda for Starfield than they did Arkane. And after Redfall, yeah, I would hope so. Gotta go fast! To jail! Sonic the Hedgehog co-creator Yuji Naka is facing a prison sentence of 2.5 years for his part in an insider trading scheme at Square Enix. As reported by the Abema Times, the Tokyo District Court stated Naka's sentencing and a fine of 2.5 million yen, or $18,000, and an additional penalty of 170 million yen, which is $1.21 million. Naka's defense is trying to fight for the fine and sentencing to be reduced, which could still happen since the final verdict won't be made until July 7th. Either way, Naka was charged with violating Japan's Financial Instruments and Exchange Act by illegally buying shares with inside information, and he pled guilty back in March. The prosecutor's office who issued the fine stated that Naka showed no signs of remorse, so it doesn't sound like he's getting off with a slap on the wrist. For context, it was alleged that while Naka was working on Balan Wonderland for Square Enix, a crime in and of itself, he was made aware that Aiming, another Japanese developer, was working on a new Dragon Quest mobile game before it was officially announced. With that information, Naka bought about 10,000 shares of Aiming stock for around 2.8 million yen, or $20,000, with the intention to sell them once the game was announced. He was arrested for this particular action in November 2022, but was arrested again in December for allegedly doing the same thing, with the knowledge that Square was planning to make Final Fantasy VII The First Soldier the mobile game. The biggest claim is that Naka used a website with materials and details of investment meetings to learn of the games in development and buy out stock in the companies. His shares totaled to 130,000, and he earned a profit of over 20 million yen, or $146,000, after he sold the stocks. Naka has been quoted saying, "There is no doubt that I found out about the games before they were made public and bought shares in them." Look, I admire his confidence, but his lack of remorse when facing hefty fines and jail time is a little off-putting. But I guess, as Sonic said in Sonic and the Black Knight,
"It was never about chivalry for me. I just gotta do what I've gotta do. That's all.
Meta kicked off its Quest gaming showcase this morning with the announcement of the Meta Quest 3. The latest VR headset is slated to launch this fall for $499.99 and promises twice the graphics performance of the Quest 2 thanks to a next-gen Qualcomm chipset. Meta CEO Mark Zuckerberg stated that the Quest 3 is their most powerful headset yet, which I would hope so since most people aren't going to pay more for a downgrade. But that also kind of throws the $1,500 Meta Quest Pro under the bus. The Meta Quest 3 is compatible with Quest 2 games and has a 40% slimmer optic profile compared to the previous model. The Quest 3's Touch Plus controllers have been completely redesigned to be more streamlined and more ergonomic. The Quest 2, which is about 3 years old now, is getting a price cut. It'll now be $200 for the 128GB model and $349.99 for the 256GB model. Both the Quest 2 and Quest Pro will be getting new software updates that Meta claims will increase the CPU performance by up to 26%, a 19% GPU increase for the Quest 2, and up to 11% GPU increase for the Quest Pro. What an actual 11% increase in GPU performance actually looks like in action is anyone's guess, but hey, I'm glad they're still supporting the older models. More on the Quest 3 will be shared at Meta's Connect conference on September 27th, so if you're into VR gaming, definitely mark your calendars for this one. We all saw the Spider-Man 2 gameplay reveal at Sony Showcase and how Peter Parker seems to be leaning more into his dark side in the symbiote suit, which should be no surprise to anyone who's familiar with the source material. Today we got a little more detail on Peter's developments while speaking to Insomniac's creative director, Bryan Intihar, and game director, Ryan Smith. When asked about the origins of the suit concepts and how Insomniac decided to approach the symbiote suit, Intihar said the team was debating on whether or not to include the suit at all during Spider-Man 1's development. When we were deep in production of Spider-Man 1, we talked about what suits we were going to feature. And of course, as you'd probably imagine, the black suit, the symbiote suit, came up and we kind of decided, are we gonna just give it as a visual thing or are we actually going to go bigger with it? The team at Insomniac believed the symbiote suit needed its own game and Insomniac decided not to include the suit in the first game at all and to hold off for the sequel to properly spotlight it. Now, in Spider-Man 2, Insomniac wanted to make sure that the symbiote suit is more than just a cosmetic and actually have unique aggressive abilities. Smith said, "I think for us, the symbiote in gameplay is all about power and transformation." Intihar added, "Peter and Miles, so much of their moveset is based on fluidity, speed, acrobatic, and the symbiote is power, is strength, aggression, and I think we wanted to make sure that from a gameplay standpoint, that was represented." Intihar also added that Peter's new finishers are much more aggressive and borderline brutal. But the power and brutality of the suit isn't just for the sake of gameplay. Intihar said that the real effects of the suit can be seen in how it affects Peter's personality, and thus how it affects his relationships with his loved ones, and how it's corrupting him from the inside out. Intihar also teased that there's a lot more to the suit than they've shown in the 11-minute gameplay video. I'm honestly just so excited for the game, and this just made me even more hyped. Did you play Redfall? Would you have been okay if it was reverted to a single-player campaign, or do you think it should have just been scrapped entirely? Let us know. I'm Stella Chung, and now that you're all caught up on the gaming news, be prepared for so much more gaming news this month, since Summer of Gaming starts next week. We've got you covered on all the major showcases, new game reveals, and exclusive gameplay clips for upcoming games, so be sure to stay tuned right here to IGN for all of your updated news. Follow us on all of your socials, subscribe to The Daily Fix on Snapchat, and keep on gaming, and I'll see you next time.